The day finally arrived. We got the gameplay trailer for V-Rising. My name is John Felix, formerly known as the Battlerite Profiler, and in this video I'm going to go through what it is we see in the gameplay trailer. In order to do so, I will supplement what we see in the trailer with some information we got from one of Spasi's recent streams. In it, he had been given access to an, as of the recording of this video, unreleased devlog. Jealous. This video will have 3 sections, one for survival, one for PVE, and one for PvP, as that seems to be the 3 pillars that this game stands on from a gameplay perspective. When we play the game, these 3 parts will definitely be very intertwined, but for now let's talk about each of them separately. In V-Rising, we play as a vampire who has awakened from his slumber. We are weak and frail, and we need to get strong in order to survive in a land that has long since learned how to defeat our kind. The dangers we need to survive are the sunlight, of course, dangerous beasts, monsters, and the humans. To do this, we must gather resources in the wild and use them to build a castle. In the castle, we can use recipes and materials we come across to build rooms, workstations, and gear that make us stronger. The trailer shows us some different rooms. Some I don't know if they have a clear function, whereas in others it's more obvious what they're for. Here we see the room where we rest. If the coffin didn't make it obvious enough, it has somnum written on it, which means sleep in Latin. And in this other room... Stop, go back. I'm trying to record a video here. I can't just stop and go back. But there was writing on the floor as well. There's writing on the floor? There is. Oh, you're right. Huh. Lucky I'm fluent in Latin, otherwise I'd have to use Google Translate for this. The Latin inscriptions on the floor goes as follows. Una salus victis nullam sperare salvium, which means there is only one salvation for the vanquished. Nemo ante mortem beatus means no one is happy before death. And finally, pullus et umbra sumus, which means we are the people and the shadow. This is really cool in my opinion, and hopefully we'll be able to play around with inscriptions like these and other things when we decorate our own castles. Alright, let's move on to the next room. Here it seems like we have some crafting stations going. Something is definitely in the works over here. And up here we have what most likely is one of the most important things in our castles. The Bloodwell. And now we're heading into that unreleased devblog territory. When you see this video, that devblog may very well have been released, so know that as of this recording, I am paraphrasing from someone else reading this devblog. So take what I say with a grain of salt. Some details might be a little different, but I'm pretty sure I have the overall information correct. Blood will be our most important resource, but it will not only be used to sustain us, the vampire, it will also be used to sustain the castle. If we keep the Bloodwell full, the castle will be protected, it can repair itself and protect itself by consuming blood from the Bloodwell. If we don't keep filling the well up with blood from our hunts, however, the well will eventually run dry. When that happens, your castle and everything in it is unprotected. And if left dry for too long, your castle will eventually start to deteriorate and crumble to then disappear. This is a very interesting feature. 1, it will incentivize us to go out and hunt for blood. 2, it'll solve the problem of players no longer playing the game or having swapped over to another server, taking up space in the world. If players are inactive for too long, their castle will simply disappear. A very clever feature indeed. To conclude the part about the survival aspect of V-Rising, it seems like it lies at the heart of everything. Many of the abilities that you use in combat are acquired through gear that you need to craft in your castle. To be able to do that, you must go out in the world to find recipes and resources. On top of that, you need to go out on hunts to quench your thirst and fill your Bloodwell up to protect those resources and your precious gear. Before we move on to the PVE being shown in this trailer, I'd just like to say that if you like this video, you can leave a like if you like. It really does help. And I will make more content on V-Rising, so consider subscribing if you want to make sure that you don't miss any future videos. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get into the combat. If you're familiar with earlier titles from Stunlock Studios, you know exactly how tight the gameplay is. Using WASD for movement and your mouse to aim with skills and skill shots as the core of combat, SLS have mastered the art of creating exhilarating combat. And I think many of you have thought the same thing I've done many times. Imagine this other kind of game, but with Battlerite controls and combat. And in this trailer, we see exactly that. You or you and up to 3 friends will take on beasts, human soldiers, and also epic monsters and bosses. This boss fight makes me wonder how the PvE experience will unfold. Will there be something like a single player / co-op campaign? Or is it more like raids or dungeons in MMOs? We see a wide range of abilities in the trailer. Some are permanent abilities that we learn, while others are tied to our equipment. This means we'll be able to vary how we play a lot depending on what crafting recipes we find and what we decide to equip. For example, we see some really cool ice abilities, and I'm also very interested in this ability that seems to do some sort of poison damage. Did you know that feeding on their blood is not the only way that vampires kill humans according to old Romanian lore? Vampires, or the strigoi, could also visit the living and spread disease. Maybe that's where the inspiration for these poison attacks came from. If we take a look at these gameplay screenshots, you can see both the name and the HP of the enemy. This suggests to me that you'll be able to lock onto your enemies as you fight them, something that I think will be extremely useful in PvE, and I'm interested to see how it works in the PvP. Also, there's the number 4 to the left of the HP bar, and it says Rogue 22% under it. We know that our characters won't have classes or levels, but it seems that the enemies have levels of difficulty. At least that's what I think the 4 represents. The Rogue 22% confuses me though. Would a crossbow archer be a rogue? Maybe. But the 22% clearly doesn't represent the archer's remaining HP. Does it perhaps have anything to do with what blood we can consume from this particular enemy? SLS have said that drinking the blood from different enemies will give us different buffs. Does drinking the blood from a crossbow archer give us a temporary 22% bonus to things like stealth perhaps? I don't know. If you have a good guess for what this could represent, please let me know in a comment. Another thing that needs to be mentioned is mobility. The vast amounts of mobility. Not only do we see abilities that both do damage and function as some sort of gap closer or dash, we also see dodge rolls and jumping? Will we have a jump button? Or is it more Zelda-like, where if we run towards a ledge, our character will automatically jump? To be continued on the jumping mystery. Finally, let's talk a little bit about the PvP. I say a little because there's not that much shown from the PvP in this trailer. Yes, there are clips where it seems like the vampires are fighting other vampires, but they're so short that it's hard to really make out anything significant from them. So I look forward to learning more about the PvP in V-Rising in the future. I mean, not only are SLS masters at creating player versus player combat, but pretty much all of us who come to V-Rising from their previous titles will probably do so with high expectations on the PvP aspects of this game. I already dread and look forward to the day I've been out gathering resources and recipes and I'm on my way home to my castle and suddenly another player appears. What will I do? Run away? Fight and come back with both my stuff and theirs? Most likely outcome is that I'll die and have to go back and regather all the stuff that I just lost. But just imagine how exciting those encounters will be. Another thing that really interests me is to see how Battlerite-like PvP works when you add a dodge roll and potentially a jump into the mix. If we look at this screenshot recently released, we see the HUD of the game. To the right side of the HUD, we have this yellow bar. Could that be a stamina bar? The R ability has this 2 over it, so it looks like that ability is on cooldown, but maybe mobility stuff like rolls don't have cooldowns but instead cost stamina to use. Like with a lot of things, this trailer leaves us with as many, if not more, new questions than it leaves us with answers. But that is also why this period is so exciting. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, nice! I can talk about this game for forever, and I know it feels like I just did. So if you're still here with me, thanks. Why not go down to the comments and let everyone know that you're an all the way to the finish line kind of vampire? And let me know what in this gameplay trailer excites you the most. Don't forget to sign up to the closed beta coming later this year. There's not a lot left of later this year, so do it now if you haven't already. A link to the beta sign up can be found in the description. Alright, thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.